That's better. I think I've solved it. It was a setting on my phone, so I'm really sorry about that, everybody. So we'll give it a second, let you guys join back on here again. Hopefully that solved it. So we'll give it a second. Is that better, guys? I think it's coming through how it should be on my computer as well now. Running at 720. It's only coming through my phone. Wicked stuff. Just loading up now on the computer so I can get my chat back on. Pop out chat. Here we go. Excellent. Right. Happy days. Right. Again, we'll try this again, everybody. So thanks for joining me, JF from Just Technics, as always, doing another video. So for those that missed my video on Facebook a couple of days ago, it's out, and I thought as there's some new products that have been released, it'd be a good idea to put my opinions and my thoughts also on this at the same time. So out to Kepler. Kepler, good to see you watching, mate. Did you, oh, in fact, did you get your parcel, Kepler? With the canvas in, did you get it all right? Let us know, mate, 'cause I don't know if you got it or not. I think the tracking said you did. I hope you like it, mate. Out to Devin, saying seems fine. Out to Mr. F Swift DJ, out to you as well. And everyone else is going to be watching pretty shortly. Hello and thank you for joining. So let's start from scratch with this one. So there was a few ideas that I thought of during my Facebook video that I'm toying with taking further. To do with the DJ industry. So if we start from scratch with this, it's on its arse. The industry is on its arse. It is pretty much dead at the moment, and because of what's happened with the coronavirus, I think as far as DJing is concerned in a whole now, this is going to separate the professionals to the people that want to just earn money out of it, and this is going to be a fresh get paid £5,000 an hour, £10,000 an hour, playing at festivals, jet setting off, 4 or 5 different places over a weekend. So this is all now stopped. So because of this coronavirus, everybody now is in exactly the same boat. You can't go out to clubs. Clubs aren't open. Pubs is bad enough. Places are now being reduced to the amount of people which are allowed to be inside venues. So it really has changed everything as far as we are concerned, us DJs, for the worse and not for the better. So what's the best scenario moving forward with this, guys? Honestly, you're going to have now people that join and just start buying controllers, CDJs, and even turntables, not for the love of doing it, for the fact of just seeing that all these big time DJs do this, they use the same equipment, they'll buy the equipment, and they'll think, I'll do that. They'll just do it to put their foot in the door, pay for a production tuition, start producing music to do exactly the same as what these guys do. I don't feel they do it for the love, they do it because they want the money, they're in it for the fame. It's not because of the love of the music anymore, the same as I said before in the past with promoters, where promoters will book any Tom, Dick and Harry to play for their events, their festivals, etc., sell tickets. It really is a shame. And I think this COVID-19 thing is going to separate the people that want to progress and move forward and do things properly as it should have been done in the first place, to the ones that want to just do it for a bit of fun or just do it for the money. I think this is now separating these two people, and it's not a bad thing. I think it's more a good thing if you look at it at the positives instead of the negatives. Now look at the negatives of this. You've got DJs that have been playing relentlessly probably for the last 30-40 years out every weekend, and it's all they've ever known, haven't done anything else apart from play records and get paid money for it. Now there's a few different people online, I've seen it in arguments going on, different forums, people saying well look, The DJs are moaning because they ain't got any money. The DJs are moaning because they can't afford to pay their mortgage. They're running out of capital. They're running out of funds. They're having to use credit cards. They're having to pay off things of their own backs by different means. They're having really good friends with who I know are struggling. And there's not a lot that they can do. They're stuck indoors. They don't do what we class as a normal job to you and me. My normal job, which is not normal to some people, is obviously repairing electronic gear, repairing Technics, modifying and doing what I do. And DJing for me has been my passion for over 20 years. So I've been tinkering and doing this with Technics for over 10, and that's what I do. And it's because it's an extension of what I love, and that is why I do what I do for a living. Helps me give back to you as well. You know that things are done properly. So that's why I do what I do. But when you've got DJs that all they've ever done is play out professionally, you look at the people that are looking on board of that, people that aren't DJs or people that are DJs just play at home. And the first initial instinct to that is boo-hoo. You know, who cares? Look, go out and get yourself a proper job. It's not fair. That's not the right attitude, and it's not fair. Yes, I can see to some extent how people can think that, but look at it from the other side. This is all these people have ever done. All they've ever done is put needles on records, you know, stick tracks on USBs, put them on USB, travel around. Think of all the hours they spend getting the music, all the money they spend getting music. All of them just get sent promos. A lot of them have to pull a lot of strings out of the bag just to, you know, to pull off a good set. A lot of them have to jet set around, and you think, oh my God, it's so easy. Look at them, look, they're getting paid to do this. They're flying from A to B here, 2 or 3 gigs. Trust me, it's not as simple and as easy as what some people think. Some of these guys, look at Cole Cox, look at Dubfire, look at some of the real big DJs in the industry. They travel hours. They get on a plane. They travel for hours. They get hardly any sleep when they get there. They have to stand in front of thousands of people and do what they love. But they're knackered. They get hardly any sleep, and then half of them don't eat anything. They don't get to go to the loo. It's all the basic things which you don't think of. It's still a job. Yes, they're standing in front of what you're doing, and you're probably sitting there in the room thinking, Jesus, I wish I could do that. I'd love to do that. But you don't hear and see the things that they have to do alongside it, which, you know, playing out for the last 30 or 40 years. And people on my Facebook complain and moan, saying they should just get a normal job. It's not our fault that they haven't got a normal job. You know, what else are they going to do? They should have done that in the first place. But what about the people that have got normal jobs? The people that, you know, people that work in construction, people that work in retail stores. I mean, look, you've only got to walk through Colchester, right? The majority of places around here are on their arse as it is. It isn't just the DJ industry, obviously, but shops are on their asses as it is, trying to get people come through the door, trying to do things, this whole bloody COVID thing, so they're all 2 meters apart. Public don't give a shit about it. General public don't follow any guidelines. Half of them you're walking around here now don't even bloody wear masks. So when you've got people that don't follow instructions and just refuse to follow instructions, so they can't be bothered to do it, it's going to make things even harder. So if you look at it like now, you've got certain things I don't agree with. Like, you walk into a bloody supermarket, like you go to Tesco's, you go to Asda, you go to Morrison's, wherever you want. You've not got a minimum amount of people that can go in and out like there used to be. Someone standing by the door saying, no, you can't do it. Yet now they've turned around and said that you can't get what? Groups of more than 6 people aren't allowed to be together. It's like, so you're allowing people to go into a restaurant. You're allowing people to walk around supermarkets and do their shopping. You're allowing people to walk around towns and different shops, all close-knit towards each other. None of them are following anything they're told to do, yet you still won't let more than 6 people do anything. That's ridiculous. So all these guys now that have been organising events that are trying to be COVID-19 socially distance, trying to move forward, isn't happening neither. It's not going to happen. If you can't have a group of more than 6 people, then they're not going to let you do any more than that probably now moving forward with events. So events is probably going to be completely out the window. And I said since day dot with this whole virus that it's a no-go zone completely. DJing now, as far as we're concerned, this year is gone. There is no gigs. All means for an example, my gigs all got cancelled this year. I had festival bookings gone. I had some really good ones playing techno, playing hard house, playing trance, all on vinyl as well. So I would have really, really enjoyed it. But shit happens, guys. Being blunt, shit happens, and happens if it happens again next year and it still isn't better, then it'll happen again. But this now, bearing in mind we've been 7 months since this whole lockdown thing has happened. 7 months has gone past, and it's still the same people saying the same things regarding DJs and production. And it's not getting any better. It's not going to get any better. And I think the time has come now where people have to stop moaning about it, club together, and think of ways to sort things out and think of ways to resolve the issues and pull together and just as one to get over it, basically. I mean, I'm very, very lucky in what I have done and what I do at the moment, because as much as, yes, social distancing is rubbish, let's be honest. I mean, I don't agree with the fact that you've got people being taken off of planes and around beaches and stuff that get, dobbed in because they've got COVID-19, and the next thing you know, they're being taken off by people in hazmat suits. Yet they're allowed to wear hazmat suits because it's that bad, obviously, but we're allowed to walk around and we're told to wear a face mask. Do you really agree with that as well, guys? We have to wear face masks, yet people getting taken off of planes, being taken off of beaches or anywhere in general when they get dobbed in, you see it on the news, they're taken off and walked away with a full-on hazmat suit. So why are they wearing a hazmat suit, yet we have to wear face masks? As if the face masks are going to make any bloody difference. It protects you, it protects the people that are walking past from you. So if you try and cough or breathe out of a face mask, you've got less chance of it going on somebody else. But why are they wearing a hazmat suit then? They must be really self-cautious as to what's going on. And the way everything's going, this is completely off topic to what they said, but even things like, look at this eat out, help out thing, right? So you've got the government now moaning and saying about how the cases are going up, how there's more people infected. Are they really fucking surprised? They just got over the whole of August, eat out, help out, Monday to Wednesday, where you get up to 50% off in restaurants. What do they think people are going to do? So you've gone from telling people to stay at home to now people don't have to stay at home, but they have to socially distance themselves. Now they have to wear masks in shops. Oh, but by the way, it's okay because you can now, with problems with people not agreeing with the way that they get treated, with staff get treated, but are you telling me you're not going to go in there for a half-price, for half-price food when the beer's peanuts as it is? They're all fully chocker. So even when me and the missus, I couldn't give a shit, I'll be honest. Me and the missus tried to get in loads of places over the whole August period. I had near enough a whole month off, which turned into about 2 weeks. But we couldn't get in anywhere. I think we managed to get in the bank holiday, which was the last day of the whole eat out, help out. So you've got everybody wanting to go out. They're trying to make everybody go out. Pay to support shops, support restaurants, support pubs. They can't 1 minute tell you can all go out and then make you all go out and then turn around and be expected to, say, oh, well, look, we've tripled or quadrupled our cases, more people are infected. What do you think is going to happen? Do you seriously think people are just going to, okay, we're going to go to a restaurant, no one's going to bother. If someone's infected, that entire restaurant, that close-knit community around those people have all got it, haven't they? What's the difference? So if they've now gone from all of a sudden you're allowed to go out to now you can't go out, or now they've even talked about putting curfews in at 10 o'clock. That's going to be interesting, isn't it? Businesses close at 10 o'clock. A lot of people do anyway, but can you imagine when they turn around and tell you next you can't go out past 10 o'clock? I bet it happens. I bet they put a curfew in. Then everybody is screwed. Everybody will be screwed. So they need to make their mind up as to what's happening moving forward. We seem to be one of the only countries that, whereas everybody else has gone, look, lockdown, that's it. Everyone for a whole month stays in. You get locked down. You sign on, do your money or whatever you got to do. You get your grants, get your tax thing back, and you survive off that for a month. And then 1 month goes past. All the infected people. Well, look, let's be honest. It's as nasty as it is. The infected people who are really old will either die or be really ill and they'll get better. They're still at home and shielding. And all the younger people who don't seem to be having as many problems can stay at home, get over everything, get better, and then go back to work after a month. And just like that, gets better. There are places that have done that, and it's been absolutely fine. So how come we've got idiots now in charge that presume that the best course of action is to let everybody eat out for an entire month, half price? Surprised that the cases have gone up. Absolute fucking joke. Absolute joke. So moving forward now with the music side of things. Nightclubs are not going to happen anytime soon. It was bad enough we have Roller World down the road from us, right in Colchester. It's literally around the corner from where my unit is. They were obviously the minute the coronavirus kicked off and everyone was saying about how bad things were, they were told they could open at one point as long as they were socially distant. Then they couldn't open, and then they stayed closed, and then they had to put all the protective mat flooring over the disco bits so no one could go on it. They thought they'd be closed. Then they were told they could reopen. Now what have you got going on? It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again, and they're going to be closed. That business is not going to survive. So you've got businesses closed, and you've got people that, who haven't got jobs to go to, and people simply staying at home because they haven't got anything to do. Now, I'm lucky with the extent of a lot of people were furloughed, and the first thing that the DJs want to do when they're furloughed, which made me laugh, really did make me laugh, but that was what happened. People that were furloughed or were at home had their technics in front of them, wanted to have their turntables repaired, wanted to have home, if they're being fully paid to stay at home. My other half she was fully paid for 3 months, I think it was 3 months worth of furlough, full pay, didn't have to go in for 3 months. She's only recently been back just before August she went back. If you're in that situation and you get your bills paid for and you've got the money sitting there and you genuinely are being the same amount and your employer's putting the additional in so you get the full amount, like she was, like a lot of people probably are, then you quite comfortably can carry on living as normal and just wait, basically, like on Shaun of the Dead, go to the pub and wait for all this to blow over. And it's just, that's what it is. So everybody was getting on the bandwagon to get their turntables repaired all at the same time. So as it stands now, I am fully booked up now until I think it's the middle of February. I can't do anything. This week's bookings now are basically done. I had 4 turntables here for this week, along with another 4 that I've stripped down. 2 of them are being sent off for spraying, another 2 that are being modified by me and now sitting on my workbench ready to rock and roll. So this is why I'm now doing this video. If you're all wondering why I'm saying I'm busy, this is why. So what's going to happen moving forward? I don't think you're going to agree to some extent, but you've got a lot of up and coming DJs or DJs that are just playing at home on controllers, who have just gotten into things, who more than anything would love to stand in front of a dance floor, even if it hasn't got anybody in it. Let's be honest. I mean, a lot of people, when they first start out, like when I did, when I first started out, I started mixing when I was 15, 16. And the first time I ever played out anywhere was in a little cafe bar when I was 17, non-paid, and I couldn't drink. Obviously, I didn't even look old enough. I still don't fucking look old enough now when I've got me trackie suit and stuff on. And, you shit scared because you've never played in front of a crowd, you haven't played in front of anybody, and you never used a club environment or a bar environment where you've got acoustics bouncing around, you've got a system that you've never ever used before. 9 times out of 10, the equipment that you're using in clubs and bars, if they've been looked after, are usually professional standard, i.e. Pioneer. They never have turntables, but they're a standard of something that you've never used. So you're not used to using them. If you use the cheap £200 Newmark controller for an example, and you go into a bar and they've got a set of CDJs and a DJM 750 Mark II for an example, or a Nexus setup, or a full Nexus setup, you're going to be lost. You have a general idea on what you're doing, but you're going to be mixing in a different way. You're going to be crapping yourself because you're not really knowing what you're doing. All you're used to doing is looking at a computer screen, hitting one button and dragging your tracks on, maybe even hitting sync. It's just the way things are. So DJs are not prepared as to what they're doing in clubs. Now, I think this should be taken advantage of, what's going on at the moment. You've got nightclubs which are dead because they can't physically open. They're not allowed to open. So if they're not allowed to open, why is no one taking advantage of thinking, hang on a minute, we're not allowed anybody in, socially, so you can't have loads of people. I take it the staff can go there. I take it you can have people hired to go there. You can probably have a couple of people in there as long as it's social distant beyond, not within its working hours, behind the scenes, privately rented. So there's nothing stopping me, for an example, going to a nightclub right now, speaking to an owner that I know really well, and saying, I want 2 people and me and your lighting jock. That's it, right? 2. Where I'm getting at with this is basically like a tuition, like a training, not a tuition thing, but to get the bedroom DJs out of the bedroom and into the club environment, right? Because they never ever get the opportunity, and sadly, I'd say, well, it's difficult to say exactly what percentage, but a lot of DJs that play in their bedrooms, everyone wants to be like when I first started DJing. One of my absolute idol when I first started DJing, because I used to mix all the Nucleus and the hard style, that sort of stuff, was Daniel Mondello. Daniel Mondello is a fantastic DJ. I'll be honest, he was, I don't know what he's like really now, but he was when I first started, when I played on vinyl, and I still play vinyl obviously, but when I first started on vinyl, he was fantastic. He mixed hard style, he mixed hard dance, he was a DMC champion as well, he could scratch, and he did everything that I aspired to be and everything I aspired to do. So I used him as a stepping stone as to what style I should have played at the time, how I should play, and I used tricks from what he does, studied his videos and things when he used to play for Q Dance, when he used to play for Climax, the massive outdoor events, indoor events. And that's what I did, like Techno Boy, Pablo, who else have we got? There's loads of people. So I use them all as examples. But my point is, there's too used to now just playing at home, not in front of anybody. It'd be nerve-wracking enough to have a young guy of 18, even 17, 18, whatever, who is staying in their bedroom on a £200 controller thinking they're absolutely rocking the place when they've got their headphones on doing their own thing. It's a different kettle of fish when you've got them out of the bedroom and into a club or a bar. Because the first thing that I did when I first played somewhere was went still as a board. Went absolutely stiff as a plank. My mixing was shite, shaking like buggery, lifting the needle off the wrong record. Mixing was really bad. Couldn't get used to the monitor speakers, couldn't get used to the house system that they had. And then after the first couple of days and the first nights of doing it with nerves, kind of get over it. You get used to who you've got around you. You get used to being in your own zone, getting used and trying out how the equipment works properly. And then eventually you get into it, like when you're first playing a nightclub or a proper bar, So they play commercial music, and that's all they play, and they decide to go out there and go, right, okay, I want to be a commercial DJ. I want to play the top 40 every night and then throw a few bangers that I know on and then maybe scratch something over. That will work. They always work, don't they? Let's be honest. If you're a commercial DJ and you've got all the music that you can think of that everyone loves, you could buy the top Now CDs from X amount of time, look at all them, slap them on a computer, along with all the other CDs with popular tracks that you could go through throughout the years. You could kill a dance floor in a commercial club. It's a no-brainer, right? But if you are like myself, where you mix techno, hard dance, trance, progressive, house music in general, acid house, old school, jungle, drum and bass, anything, dubstep, let's be honest now, this scene is hard to get into. It's hard enough as it is now. And it's not been a secret that you have to really be a producer in order to get anywhere within the DJ world of things. To boost the DJ career, to do anything, you have to set your standards higher than everybody else. You have to do things differently than everybody else. So I produce music. I've been producing music for a long time. I've got music on 999 London, which started for projects. I've done other things in the past. I've had white labels produced. I've had things on vinyl. And it's not what you know, it's who you know. So I've been very lucky when I started. I was involved with the right people, and you network, you turn up to gigs, you speak to promoters, they give you chances, you play the dead light 10 till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock before anyone goes into a club. You do warm-ups. You do it a few times, you then start getting really friendly with all these people, and you work your way up the ladder, and you start hopefully progressing into different areas, different clubs, different places around the country, and then go from there. That's pretty much what I did, and I've been very lucky and very fortunate to be around the right people at the right time and be around a nice network of friends and DJs and producers and promoters as well. So I've been very lucky, and being a producer as well and producing my own music has helped that. I wouldn't say it's been the absolute, oh my God, holy grail, now I've produced this music, now I've produced my tracks, everyone wants to book me. That's not how it ever has been. I mean, I mainly play older 90s to 2000 techno. So you got your Dave Clark, your Jeff Mills, your Luke Slater, all that stuff. And this is what I love playing. It's the older stuff which I prefer playing. And that's why it can be harder getting booked. So where I'm coming from here is, just because you love your style of music or your set style of music, it might be an absolute banger. You might put an hour together. You could have mixed it on vinyl. It could be absolute pure perfection and not a blip wrong with any mix. Not one single train wreck or not one audible, pitch bend, everything perfect. But just because you've done that, it could be fantastic, but no one is really going to hear it. Let's be honest, nobody's going to hear it. You've got the likes now of Mixcloud, you've got the likes of SoundCloud. SoundCloud get really funny with any DJ mixers now, with the algorithm that's going around with a lot of these big firms, anything with copyright inducement now, they just take it straight down. You get a strike on it and you probably end up closing your account if you're not lucky. So you've got to be very, very, very careful with how you promote yourself as a DJ. And this COVID-19 thing is just the icing on the cake, because everyone's starting to get on this bandwagon now with Facebook, with the copyright strikes on Facebook, with live streams on Facebook. It's just as bad. So it's going to be harder, even harder now, as DJs, to get your sound and get yourself heard by people. There isn't anywhere to do it. So I think now, like I've said, look on the positives and look to move forward. So you've got all these really dead nightclubs. You've got dead smaller nightclubs and bars, function halls, all this stuff that's not being used by anybody. Yet I've not seen one saying, let's get together and do some sort of tuition thing. Training for the younger bods, training for people who haven't been lucky enough to step out, even just step out on the dance floor. Just because the dance floor hasn't got anybody on it doesn't mean that people aren't going to want to play on it. Take Ministry of Sound for an example. I think they used to do tuition, didn't they, back in the day? I don't know if they still do it anymore. But you'd pay tuition with them. I mean, it's extortionate how much money this stuff is. Just to play behind a DJ booth for an hour or 2 hours and be shown the basic fundamentals. In the UK, the most prestigious name of Ministry of Sound, with a top DJ, I'll say a top DJ, a DJ that plays there regularly. You'll have a resident DJ who'll show you the fundamentals, but all he's really bothered about, he's not bothered about showing you really what to do. He'll show you the basics, but all he's bothered about is putting money in his pocket. So he wants you in and out of that door as quickly as he can. But my point is, that person who's paying the money to be behind that DJ booth, just to touch CD decks, CD players, controllers and mixers, whatever, that have been touched by various different DJs from around the world, really well-known established DJs, the likes of Cole Cox, for an example, who would have braced those decks numerous times. You're touching CD players that have had CDs put inside them and USB sticks inserted in the top, and mixers that have been used, thrown around, scratched, whatever, by DJs within the industry who you look up to. They're absolute gods. Why wouldn't you want to play on that system, right? And that is exactly why these younger guys did it. It was so that they could go in there, test the equipment out, more get involved with it and just see what's going on, how things work. And it's a good way of, getting yourself ready for if you ever play out. And a lot of DJs fail when they play out with warm-ups. They play the wrong style of music. They don't know what a warm-up is, for an example. I've seen so many people in the past that, just because you're playing on a techno night, for an example, doesn't mean that you're going to go hell for leather. And even playing it from to drum code standards, I mean, I love drum code in general because it's dark techno, like the likes of before, but you wouldn't really play as a warm-up even some of the parts that are just labelled as drum code. You wouldn't turn up and play a warm-up and play the top 40 and drum code, would you? You wouldn't do that. So you've got people that do that. You must have seen it yourselves. I've seen it so many times where techno nights, people are playing the absolute stonkers that you shouldn't be playing until at least midnight, 12 o'clock, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Some of them, they're playing things that are too heavy. They should be playing at 3 o'clock in the morning. And some of the things they play shouldn't even be played at all. Should be played at a complete, how to construct a set, or how to construct a set properly. I've said this before, and everyone's used the same algorithm with this as well. You've got 3 or 4 different types of DJs. You've got the ones that just do this. You've got the different curvature. So you've got the flat line. So you pretty much got one person that plays one style of music, and it all sounds the same. Doesn't go up, doesn't go down. It is exactly the same. That person is only going to be any good, really, for playing a peak time set that's going to be techno, for an example. It is flat, all sounds the same, driving hard, probably at the end of the night, because they're not going to be building it up. It's all going to sound the same. So if you play 160 BPM trance and hard techno, there's going to be absolutely no difference with the way it goes up and down. It'll be the same build up, the same bloody stabs, the same snares, the same pretty much drive and bass lines that you get with this. And my point is, it sounds the same. It's a flat line level. They're good for prime time, for an hour to get people going maybe, or for the end of the night, right? You've then got the people that will play warm up, and the idea with warm up is either one of 2 ways of doing it. You either start off slowly and gradually creep it up, ready for the next DJ, which is why it's called a warm-up. Self-explanatory, but trying to explain this to newer DJs is an absolute nightmare, right? That's one way. You've got the other way, if you want to be a little bit more experimental and adventurous, is tie in different styles of genres of music, which you wouldn't normally think would go together, but you'll get away with, because they're not something that you'd normally hear, in a mainstream set. And the idea is to build it up and build it down. So you can gradually, whereas a warm-up DJ would usually start off slow and then get it to a point where the room is warmed up. So in other words, people are slowly starting to move their feet. They've got to a bar or whatever they're doing, and they're slowly getting the people on the dance floor before the next DJ takes over for the peak time sets. They can, instead of just going slow and then build it up ready, they can go slow and then up and then back down again. So you can put tracks on which are going to, appeal to the masses, get them moving, tracks with the vocals they're going to recognise, get them singing along. The girls are going to love stuff. For acapellas over dance tracks that they've never heard before, get them interested, then bring it back down. That's the other side. Then you've got the other, very, very easy thing to do. But my point is, again, you've got DJs that haven't played in clubs, who can't structure sets, who are not used to playing in front of people. They need guidance and people to show them what to do, how to use the equipment properly. Why are these venues not thinking outside the box and going, hang on a minute? So you're moaning all the time that you're losing money, you've got no money, holy shit, what am I going to do? Oh no, I can't pay my bills. Well, you've got the most obvious answers sitting right in front of you. You've got social media, right, which appeals to everybody. If you're a very well-known established brand, or even if you're a very known well-established DJ, surely you can contact your nearest club, event promoter or whatever. You can just go straight to the club or the event and go, right, I want this club for one. I want it for 3 nights a week. Maybe even do the whole fucking thing. Do 5 nights a week or 6 nights a week. Do it for, I don't know, structure it as if you were doing hour sets throughout the night for DJs. I know a lot of clubs, when you play commercial stuff, they didn't have one DJ that plays the whole night, maybe as a warm-up as well. But structure it. Do it so that you have one-on-one tuition. Maybe do it at 2 hours per person, right? Get people to send you their mixes, or ask them what they'd like help with. Newbies, people that have never done it before, right? and show them the bloody way. Get in a club, promote it. I'm sure that if the likes of Carl Cox, for an example, this is never going to happen, but can you imagine if he put an ad on bloody Facebook and said, guys, I've got a club, I've got it for an entire week, I've got it for an entire month, I'm taking it over, no public's allowed in apart from people I'll be showing the way to. So if you're a newbie, if you're someone that's been playing for a while, you need a few hints and tips or whatever you want, or just like to play alongside me, right? Do a back-to-back for a couple of hours. Now is your chance to do it. So could you imagine that? Being not just, you've got the option of being taught by an absolute, play alongside him, do a back-to-back. You could be back-to-back with one of your absolute legend idols in a nightclub, in a pub, in an event, in a wherever it is, a bar, a function room. And it's the most easiest way of these guys getting their income back. So instead of looking at the negatives and going, I'm not earning any money because you're not playing anywhere, well, think of it the other way. You haven't got to be playing in front of the crowds to be earning the money, guys. You can make it, work it in your favour, but just don't be greedy. That's where these guys will get greedy. Ministry did it. Don't be greedy and don't charge a fortune, and it will work. So I would be the first person, if someone turned around to me, if I saw Carl Cox had done it and he was local, or a local DJ had taken a club over local to me, and they said, we're taking it over for a week, you know, choose your set time online, book it in online. I mean, look, if I can get people booking online to send their turntables to me, and it puts the slot on there, and I get notified and they pay a deposit to book their set, so we know when they turn up, they're not going to be ruined, or there's going to be a space there for somebody else because they couldn't be asked to call in and let me know. Then if I can do that, anybody can. It's not hard. You do a booking system, you explain on your social media what's going on, basic website, you get half of them now for bloody free anyway, and these guys probably get things made for them anyway. Just about every top DJ and event brand in the entire planet all has a website, all has Facebook, all has Instagram, right? They go on there, they book an hour slot, they book a 2 hour slot, whatever you want. You choose whether you want tips and tricks from an industry standard professional, whether you want tuition for someone that's been in a bedroom that wants a bit of a helping hand, the sit down chat or a bit of advice. Or you go the other way, back-to-back set. Can you imagine the amount of people that would kill for a back-to-back set with Carl Cox, with Adam Bayo, Alan Fitzpatrick, Lisa Lashes, the Tidy Boys, you know, Lisa Pinup. Seriously, there's money to be made with this, and it's an industry which, yes, it's dying now with the going out to club, but these guys could be raking it in, helping out DJs who would never have the opportunity to play in a club with their idol. It's just the most obvious thing ever. They can charge for it as well. So instead of sitting there going, I'm stuck at home, I'm not playing anywhere, you know, no one's buying my music, there's your answer. Surely you should be doing that. That's the most obvious way of earning money. I used to do DJ tuition years ago in a couple of bars in town. It did really well. It did really, really well, actually. And just showing people the way. And all I did was, it was either people came in who had never played in clubs before, so I made sure I picked it on a night in a bar which was particularly very, very quiet. Because the last thing you want is a young guy of 18 walking in, shitting themselves because they've got people around them. You get people around having a few beers and stuff and get a bit leery. You don't want that. You don't want them to get scared of it first off. You want them to get them in gradually. So you pick a night which is quiet. You then make sure you've got the standard equipment there for them to use. They come in, you show them the fundamentals, and then they'll keep coming back. They'll keep coming back because, one, they get used to dealing with that same person, so they get used to dealing with me. They get used to dealing with the same equipment that's provided because they know what they're using, you know, they know what CD decks they are, what controller it is, what mixer it is, etc. They get used to how the monitor system works around there, if there's monitors, how to cope in a venue if there is no monitors. So even if there is monitor speakers there, I'd crank up the volume, make them put headphones on and say, right, this is what's happening. You hear how it's bouncing around the room. You hear how it's going dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. The bass is juggling around the room because of the acoustics. That is what you need to get used to. So you put your headphones on, you counteract it, make them learn how to mix with headphones, not just looking at speakers. So there's various things that you can teach people and help them out with. And I feel that these top DJs that moan about not having any money, some of them do tuition online with production, which is fantastic, but not everybody wants to get into production. When I first got into DJing, I didn't want to produce music. I was bad enough going on Dance EJ when I was at school. Doing it at home, couldn't do it, couldn't be bothered, so started DJing. People don't want to just produce music, they want to play other people's tracks, they just don't understand that they have to make their own music and get it out there. It's like bloody, what's his name? Martin Garrix, right? Martin Garrix got such a knock in the industry because of his age, because of how young he is. And the amount of top DJs that you see slagging that poor kid off. They all loved it, and within the EDM scene, he's huge. And that's what happens. You can pretty much guarantee now he's not going to have any problems over the COVID-19, is he? Neither's Carl Cox, neither's Calvin Harris, neither is Steve Aoki or any of these other people that you genuinely think aren't deserving of it, but they're all working, and it all works because of who they are and what they've achieved and what the hard work they've put into the industry. So I think it's pretty unfair when you hear people slagging off DJs because it's not in your genre of music that you don't like or you wouldn't normally play or you don't agree with. But it's unfair because they've put hard work in, they've thought of ideas, they haven't got ghost producers making tracks for them, they've taken the time, they've spent hours making tunes, hours learning their craft, just to, have such and such keyboard warriors. I get it on my YouTube all the time, you must have seen it. On my YouTube videos, I get people, keyboard warriors. I've not just had people diss me for my information that I give about Technics turntables. They try and hit me personally. I get them where they try and get me. The worst one was my teeth. So, not being funny, guys, right? My teeth are horrible. I've got baby teeth that one of them's still there, and teeth that haven't grown out properly. And they hit me personally on there. I had people saying about my teeth, taking the piss out of me, my hair and stuff. And it's horrible how people can be like it. And these are the people who are never, ever, ever going to get anywhere in life. And they're certainly not going to get anywhere in the DJ industry. Karma will bite them up the arse. And that is what will happen. And that's what happens to people who are total arseholes. So they've earned what I'm trying to say is they've earned their stripes. They've done their dues. They've done the hard work. They've spent hours trying to craft it. Hours and hours and hours sitting in front of a computer screen, thinking of new ideas with samples. Just because someone's used the sample from somewhere else doesn't mean that they haven't tweaked it in such a way. They've used that sample to their benefit. Right, very quickly, people are asking about the Mark 7s on here and also rotary mixers. I've stated before, I like rotary mixers, but because of my style of mixing, I prefer to use a crossfader and channel faders. It depends really. I like slamming tracks in. So to me, it's all about channel faders. So I'm pretty limited. Second Mark 7 is currently sitting on my deck stand at home. We're alongside my two Mark IIs, the MK3Ds and my Denon VL12. So I will go into that quickly now because I know people are going to keep asking me questions about this this turntable. And what's this? No, messages held for review. Hang on. Seem like a cool brother to me. Fuck what people say about you, keep doing you. Thank you for that. Let's show that because that's not showing up on there. Thank you. That's a nice thing to say. I just say it as it is, and that's what I'm like. That's why I like to think people book with me and do things. So I just don't bullshit and say things how they are. So thank you. Yep, the Mark 7. Funny enough, you say about how I'm getting on with it. So I've kept this now for about the same length of time as, well, I got rid of it after Christmas, didn't I? So we've got a little bit of time yet. So October's when I bought the last one of last year. Sold it after Christmas straight away. The Mark 7 isn't going to be sold this time, guys. I've got it at home. This is a third deck. I collect turntables anyway. You guys will know this from what I do. I recorded an hour's trance set last night, which is just on vinyl. It's not on DVS. It's not using any digital system at all. It's purely just with autophon needles, a Mark II, a Mark 7, going for a DJM 750 Mark II. No effects, no rubbish, mixing from a Mark II into a Mark 7 and vice versa. So I will upload that tonight. That will be going on my Mixcloud tonight. I'll put a link in the comments and you can take your pick and tell me what you think. When I listened to it briefly last night, after playing it back, there was a couple of wobbles I thought. The wobbles were from the Mark 7 as expected. Now, I haven't really, in terms of struggling mixing on the Mark 7, it's harder work, yes, I will say now. It doesn't lock as well. It does mix. You can mix on them. You've got to be a bit more hands-on with them, the same as you are with all these digitally controlled pitch controls on these modern decks. But I do like the Mark 7. I can't deny it. I do like the Mark 7. It's better than the GR is a waste of time. Don't even bother with the GR. Like everyone says, don't bother with the GR. The Mark 7 is the better deck for mixing. It just lacks. If they had a £550 price range, I think people wouldn't bother, wouldn't mind paying the money. But you've now tone arm pagan gold, put a red head shell, blacked out the weight, which is already black on the Mark 7, and put a sticker on it for Red Bull and a slip mat with Red Bull written on it. These are all things that I can do now. There is no need, and they're shelling out another £100 per deck just to do this. Biggest waste of money ever. It really is. Another way of them trying to recoup what they've lost. You think they've lied to people about these decks from day dot about how fantastic, and they stand by it. And with the problems that I had before, it's mainly the customer service that I have the biggest issue with them. They don't accept any liability. So I've got a big problem with Panasonic with this because of that. But no, the Mark 7 is still at home. There'll be lots of updates with it. The trance mix is on my iPad now. I recorded it using my DJM 750 Mark II mixer. For those of you that don't know about the record software, basically if you use an iPhone or an iPad, like I've got an iPad Pro 2020, I've got a 12.9 inch one, quite big, the biggest one, the best one you can get basically. Bought it for that and for my work as well. And you can connect up from USB to USB-C into the back of the iPad. They give you a 30-day trial of this record software, so it enables you to record your DJ mixer straight to it, and you can also live stream directly from the mixer as well. So the audio quality is absolutely spot on. You're not going to get any better really. And it's for ease of use. You can record your set straight to your iPad, and you can upload it straight to Mixcloud as well, which is an awesome plus. So yeah, really, really good. That'll be updated tonight. You'll all be able to see that, listen to it, and let us know what you think. DJM 750 Mark II using vinyl, good output. Yeah, I like the output. I mean, look, it's not the best. The Pioneer mixers are not the best for using with vinyl. We all know this by now because of the preamps. It is a nice mixer. The only quibble I have with the DJM 750 Mark II, which I have found, which I don't know if anybody else watching uses the same mixer, if you found the same problem as me, is the headphones. When you turn them, if you've got the same mixer as me, put your headphones on, turn the volume up, just any volume at all, turn the mixer on with no audio playing through it at all, and you get a low level hum. And it's like a hiss to a hum. You get that through the headphones, and there's no counteracting it. It doesn't go. There's nothing you can do. Now, I looked online about this, and I'm not the only person that had exactly. So as all these big manufacturers do, and said there's nothing wrong with it. It's been tested absolutely fine. This is how they are. Tough shit, basically. So it's a shame. You can't really hear it when your music's playing, but my fact is their argument was it's not as good as a 900 Nexus. It's not a Nexus system. What do you expect, basically? Which I don't agree with. You're still paying £1,100 for a mixer. You should at least have good queuing capability in your headphones. That's the most important thing. That and your turntables or CD decks, that's the most important thing, is queuing your records and sound quality. It's obvious. So don't accept that. But no, it's a good mixer. I do like the 750 Mark II. If I had my time back again now, I'd probably buy the Nexus or maybe even the V10. I actually nearly bought, when I bought the 750 Mark II, I did nearly buy the V10. It's a lot of money, I know, but it is the best of the best. So I nearly did bite the bullet and go for that. Who's talking to me? I've got my Facebook on in the same time. Jake might be coming down tonight with the bike. Okay. It's the missus. Pioneer. This is the other thing I was going to be saying about this. Now, I put a post on my Facebook, my personal Facebook, this morning, and also on my works page too. If you haven't seen it, it's quite laughable, really. So, yes, as you probably all well now know, if you're in the DJ industry and you have social media, if not, you're sort of living underneath a rock, you will know that Pioneer have now released their CDJ 3000. So, yeah, so we'll move it. Let's look on the obvious side here. You've got the CDJ 300, came out in the early 90s, was the first ever one. Then had the CDJ 500. The 500 was the peanut flippers, so was the 300, funny enough. The 500 Mark II as well, which is the full size. The 500 Mini, which was the smaller size. You then had the CDJ 100. There was a CDJ 200. There was an MEP system. You had the CDJ 1000s, the 1, 2 and the 3. Then you had the CDJ 200, the 800, all of that lot there. So they've basically gone from all the old systems, the 1000, the 2000, then they've gone for a 3000, hence why it's CDJ 1000, 2000, 3000. Now, in their infinite wisdom by the development guys, that no one's using CDs anymore, so they've basically, in a nutshell, discontinued the disk drive on the CDJs, which in my experience from looking at CD decks, it's called a CDJ because you have a CD slot and you've got a disk drive. So they're selling something as a CDJ, which doesn't read CDs, which in my eyes means it's not a CDJ. Basically what it is, in a nutshell, is an XDJ. So when the original ones were released, they made a smaller version, didn't they? An XDJ 700, for an example, which I wasn't really a massive fan of. Yes, they're good fun, but it's a touchscreen system with no CD socket, no CD slot. So you couldn't play CDs, you couldn't turn up and play on them, and if you spilt anything on them, you're asking for trouble, aren't you? So touchscreen, that's what happens. So what have they done? They basically bring out an XDJ 3000. Is what they've actually done. That's what they should have done. They should have done an announcement saying we're not bringing a CD, we're not doing CDs anymore. It's not a CDJ. And then to get around that, their way of getting around it, I've been hearing from people in the industry. There's 4 people today that have messaged me stating what CDJ now stands for. In my experience, originally it was compact. It was CD. So it was basically compact disc jockey was a term for CDJ, and now they're classing it as club DJ or club disc jockey, club DJ. So they've changed it. So it's their way of keeping the original name, but then changing it differently. What about cables, speaker wires? What about them? What about cables and speaker wire? There's various different types. I could go on all day about that. I used to install the installation of Bose and Bang & Olufsen, so you got the right person when it comes to cables. I go absolutely mental with cables. But no, so they've released something now. In all due respect, looking online, looking at the specifications for it and what it can actually do, it is very, very clever. It does look very impressive indeed. And of course, in true standard form, like Pioneer have done, like Native Instruments are doing, like Technics have just done as well, they have basically released something ultra expensive when the industry is down the pan. There's no DJ industry, and leaves DJs at home. So apart from the odd DJ that's probably got £5,000 sitting around spare, who's been given a grant by the government, drop the quality. Sorry guys, how do I do? I don't think you can. It's going through my phone, guys, so I'm really sorry if the quality is buffering quite a lot. I noticed it's done it a couple of times. That's why I'm repeating myself while it's buffering. But yeah, so they're bringing out new items now in a time where people have lost their jobs and haven't got any money. But it's making it non-affordable. Again, it's bringing out industry standard gear now that people just can't afford. And they're bringing out at a time where people haven't got any money, when the club industry is gone, festival industry is gone, and that's the end of that. No Wi-Fi, no streaming, no layering. Exactly. Denon have whooped it with that once again. And also the jog wheels apparently feel different too. I've heard that, according to what people have told me, and not in a good way. No torque adjustment, no firmness adjustment on the platter either. So depending on how it works, it probably wouldn't appeal to me either. So that's a bit of a pain with that. So no, I don't understand what the, hang on, what the whole point is. I've got someone talking, sorry guys. Sorry everybody, I won't be a second. Right, that could be left to it for the minute. Right, we've got more messages coming in, haven't we? What have we got here? Kids are in online school, internet saturated. Yeah, again, this is the problem. Everything's all online. It's for ease of use, and because it's ease of use, they can charge more money. So if you could sit at home and have someone tell you what to do in front of a web camera, exactly like I'm doing on my phone right now, push this button, push that button, chat back to somebody. They haven't got to leave their house. With my idea was, you know, doing it locally. I'm sure there's big time DJs that live all over the world or different countries, different towns. They can take over clubs and do things, and people will travel just to have the tuition and the guidance to be shown how to do things by people in the industry. And I think that's missing. And what, like I say, most DJs in this day and age now will never be given the opportunity to play in clubs, play anywhere. And I just feel it's a big thing that's being missed, especially when you've got people that are moaning that they haven't got any money. If you're moaning you haven't got any money and you're sitting at home and you know, there's your answer. Take over a club, take over a bar, pay such and such to rent it out, and then let the people that want to come in pay to play, but you're playing with you. If they can pay to look, here's another way of putting it as well, everybody. If people and punters are going to pay to play, like the majority of people do, but they don't realise it, because a lot of people, whenever they play in these venues and they make you sell tickets, so I know a lot of people who will spend £200 out of their own money, for an example, on tickets just to say that they can play. Because they've sold tickets and no one turns up, and they either give the tickets to their mates for free, or will pay to play, then people will pay to play alongside their top name DJs. Jay, have you tried the Tractor S4 Mark III? Would love to hear you have a scratch on it moving platters. Well, funny enough, I have actually used it. It's a strange one. It's got haptic feedback on the jog wheels. So it's a nice idea, but then it's just a ridiculous, pointless thing to have. Be realistic. What CD player or record do you know that has haptic feedback or vibration or anything like that on the platter? The only vibration and feedback you ever feel is usually on your feet or your hands on a booth, because the bass is vibrating the club or the bar or whatever you're doing. So again, it's another very clever niche idea, and yes, it does work very well, but it's an annoyance and more of a hindrance more than a positive, because yeah, you can feel the first cue, but if you've got your headphones on and you're cueing anyway, then great. I suppose that's going to cater more for people that beat juggling more than anything, because you could obviously got to sort something out to do this through the computer. I think it's my Wi-Fi connection in here. It's another thing, guys, as well. I've got now the microphone with the cradle mic. That's all sorted. We've got that. The GoPro has been sorted as well, so we've got that all here. So that's all ready to rock and roll. But I need to get this sorted so I can start doing this from my computer. Then we haven't got to worry about the streaming issues from doing this on my phone. Is it completely gone, guys, is it? Let us know, peeps. Write back to us if you can. While you're doing that, I'm going to check my emails quickly. For those that are wondering, my computer is one of my computers is literally right in front of my phone, so it's okay, is it? Right, okay, that's fair enough. You probably got another half hour or so with me, then I'm going to, well, 20 minutes I'd say, then I'm going to go anyway. Yeah, the stream stopped on my computer as well, actually, funny enough. But yeah, so no, I think the tractor unit's a nice unit. I think the best one really for use for scratching, if I'm completely honest, is the Z2. The Z2 mixer by Native Instruments is absolutely fantastic. I personally own a Z2 as well. It's the closest thing you're going to get to really a really good high quality battle style mixer. I've heard good things about the new Mark Scratch as well. Not had a go on it myself as of yet. To be fair, I probably won't. Image froze, but sound still continues. That's really strange. I'm really sorry about this, guys. This is also to be the last one I do with my phone. I promise you that. But yes, the scratch mixer wise, difficult. I'm still an old school Vestax guy, really. I don't think you can really beat them from back in the day. The old Pro X faders as well. What do you think about controllers? What do I think about them? Well, I've used pretty much all of them. So, I mean, back in the days of working for DJ shops, I've used all of them. I get quite a lot of things that come through here I'm doing minor repairs on. And I like the idea of controllers. The only controller that I really like, if I'm honest with you, is the, well, for controller wise, not just standalone with USB, if you use the NS7. And I think Newmark or InMusic, who own Newmark, really do need to jump on it and create an NS7, which is a standalone unit which runs USB. And if they really want to hit the industry hard and create something that nobody else has done, they need to do it so that you can control the USB audio format using DVS, so you can actually run your turntables through a standalone mixer without the use of a computer. Once they've done that and you haven't got to use a computer, that's where things will change. So you imagine you've got yourself a 12-inch mixer with a little screen built in with USB sockets that you can run your tracks into, DVS from your two turntables or even timecode from CDs or media players straight into the mixer without using a computer. That's exactly what you want. I was liking the look of the Denon one, as you can plug and play a hard drive. Now that's funny enough actually, because I had the on about the Prime 2 and the Prime 4. Now I can give you my honest input on the Denon Prime, because I actually had the Prime 4. I owned it for about 3 weeks. Sold it in the end. There's a slight delay on the jog wheels. The jog wheels feel too heavy for scratching, and the crossfader, in all honesty, was not up to the task either. If you are purely mixing or you're using it for mobile purpose, or you need more than 2 channels and you don't want to spend the money on Pioneer, it is an absolute no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer, because of the amount of features that you have on that unit is incredible for the price. I mean, yes, it's £1,500, it's a lot of money, but look at what you get for £1,500. You can't even buy a CDJ, a brand new CDJ 3000 with an all standalone unit you can plug your turntables into. You can record to USB, you can install a hard drive into it, you can copy your music straight to it. It is a phenomenal piece of kit. And for all the people I see online slagging it off and saying Denon are rubbish, they're not. It's just catered towards different types of DJs. That unit is probably more catered towards the mobile market than it is the club market. So if you're a scratch DJ, learn the hard way from me, guys. Honestly, there's 1 or 2 videos floating around online where the guys had to adapt and scratch delayed to get a decent scratch. And what happens is they'll just look at a video, they'll look at a forum and go, well, Lev said it's all right, so I've got to take his answer for granted, take it for read that he said it's okay, and because he said it's okay, it's got to be done. It's not the case. It isn't the case at all. The Prime 4 is a nice unit. You can't scratch on it. You really can't. You can install an Inno fader, which helps the crossfader, so it gets rid of that horrible delay, and you can scratch on vinyl beautifully, but you cannot scratch on the jog wheel still. Unfortunately, it's just how things are. So, good mixing unit, display's fantastic. You have to make sure that you do the firmware update. That's the first thing I'd recommend anybody do that has the Prime 4. If you buy one or you have got one in front of you and you haven't done it, you need to complete the update. It's a piece of piss to do, free to download off of the Denon website. And you can turn the WAV forms going across the screen in exactly the same way as the Pioneer unit. Big plus. 4 decks at once going horizontal or vertical is exactly what you want. That's what you do with that unit. And then also you can link in with it now. You've got a Beatport link, so you can actually play your music direct from Beatport. You pay a premium subscription and you haven't even got to buy music. I mean, what world are we living in now? It's awesome. Um, what's that? Mr. Swifty. Jay, I have a very basic DJM 250 Mark II and I can pull off better mixes than some Nexus DJs. I can believe it. I can believe it. DJM 250 with the Magville fader is fantastic. I've used one. My very good friend of mine, Jim's got one. And yeah, I mean, look, it's scratch fine. It's got a Magville fader. It's nice and smooth. You can put an inner fader in it if you want, but I didn't bother. I've got one in my 750. Great bit of kit. You can put record box through it as well if you want. You've got to buy the records, but you can put record box through it. Comes with a license, so you pay time code, and for the price you pay for it, it's a fantastic unit. What's this? I'm just looking into them at the moment. All new to me. Digital stuff. What do you reckon Serato the best? Well, funny enough, if you want to run Serato as a controller, you can run the Prime 4 through your computer, and you can run Serato DJ Pro through that unit as well. So that's something you need to bear in mind. If you're looking to use it with a computer, you can use it with Serato. And also, if you buy the Serato timecode vinyl, you can connect your decks up with that unit and connect that to your computer, and you can use timecode using the Prime 4 too. So you can run timecode through DVS straight onto the unit itself. So if you're looking to get into using Serato or Traktor, Serato is the winner for that, because it's obviously made with Serato in mind to use it as a controller. The majority of people are probably never ever going to use that because they've got everything already as they want it. I only wanted something that I could run normal vinyl through and play my tracks on USB, but I figured if I can't scratch on a unit, if I don't want to dig out records and just have everything integrated in one, going through different hot cues into different samples, and I can't even scratch doing that, there is no point in me keeping it. Hence why I sold it, and the new owner's really happy. But if you want to use Serato and you want to use it on that unit, you can. Another email come through. Sorry, I was checking my emails again while I've got you all on there. Terrible, aren't I? Don't you hate it when you buy a little thing from a shop and they just bombard you with emails after you sent one thing, you bought one thing for about 10 quid. Right, what's the time now? So, what else can we talk about? Fire your questions to us, guys. You've got us for about 5 more minutes, I'd say. I do need to get out of here a little bit earlier today. Curious, does it make a difference to use an S120 or Mark II digital with timecode vinyl instead of regular cartridge? Now that is actually a really, really good question. So I've actually used the S120. The S120 was, you had 2 different types of S120. You had the head shell mounted version and you had the Concorde style version. S120, guys, is basically, or was classed as the best all-rounder to play standard vinyl records and timecode. The S is for Serato, as a Serato branded basically cartridge and stylus. Now my personal choice between any of them, if you can find the S1, there's basically their alternative now of the S120. Right, fair enough. So if you can't get the S120 anymore, the reality of every single type of cartridge and stylus you use will pretty much be fine using timecode. That's the truth. Unless you're playing standard records, then that's where you're going to notice a massive difference. The S120 Digitrack, they're made for higher pitch, they're made for the groove of a DVS record. I think it's all made for it, they're made specifically for that, so in reality they should be better. But the S120 I found was fantastic, Digitrack was great. I've used every single cartridge and stylus you can think of, and what I always say to people is for home use, the Pro S was always the weapon of choice, and the DJS Blue, so the Autophon Concords. Now, people don't realise this, the Reloop Concords are exactly the same. Basically, what happened was Autophon wanted to release their Mark II versions of the Concords, so they turned around to Reloop, who are all owned by the same people, by Henley Designs. They turned around in Denmark and said, Reloop, here's what we're going to do. Here's the old design. Do whatever you want with it, just change the way it looks, and that's basically what they did. So Reloop took off the Autophon branding, they put on the Reloop logo and the Reloop name on the side. Concorde Black is Pro S Black, Concorde Blue is Pro DJS Blue. They've then got, what was it? The Autophon Green, I believe, was the Scratch. You then had the Concord Vibe, which is their version of the Nightclub. So there is literally no difference in them. They're exactly the same units. I've had it confirmed with me as well. If you want to buy new styluses and you prefer the older look, the older styluses and cartridges, then you go for the Reloop Concords. They even say Autophon on the boxes. They're exactly the same boxes. They've got the same branding underneath. And trust me, guys, the specifications between all of them are identical to the original Autophon Concords. They are exactly the same. So they get put off because one says Reloop. You might want to buy it because it's green. Do you know what I mean? They're exactly the same units. The only difference really with the newer ones is they've got slightly different pickup. They're a bit of a louder volume pickup on them as well. So you'll find your turning yield gains down slightly, whereas before they'd be a lot louder, which is a good thing, I suppose, if you have got bad preamps in your Pioneer mixers. I suppose the Mark IIs are probably the better ones to go for because they have a louder pickup. So that's one advantage of it. Plus, if you do break the lever, you can replace it. But in reality, I'll make my own kit so you can replace your own levers anyway on the older ones. I think I said before, but I noticed in Record Box, my pitch on Mark II works better on DVS. I think Record Box for digital PLX. Again, I haven't got a clue. Never used it. I've got Record Box. I've got the license for Record Box, but I've never ever used it. I've never to try actually. I could try getting the Record Box. I might buy some Record Box records and DVS vinyls, just sit there at home with them, try it on the Mark 7 and try it with the Denon as well and see what outcome we get with that. I want a condenser mixer, okay. Anything else, guys? You've got us for a couple more minutes and I've got to shoot, so I'll let you guys fire your questions in and I'll sit here and vape. Just to remind everybody that is booking online with my website that the web store is back open. My bookings are not until February of next year, but the web store is open for anybody that is interested in a brand new Mark 7 dust cover. You can change the back section if you want and put hinges on for a Mark II. I have a brand spanking new Mark 7 dust cover that's never been removed out of its polythene wrapping. It's sitting on my wrap at the moment. That's available on the web store. I also have, let's have a think, what else have I got here? Cartridges have sold, those dust covers are provisionally sold. I have one more visual vinyl record to go. In fact, I'll show you this very quickly. Come on, guys. I might as well show you this. While I've got you here, I am very, 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 very surprised that this hasn't sold yet. I had a lot of these. They sold instantly within a day. I have one visual vinyl record left. If you've never ever seen one of these before, basically the waveforms that you visibly can see, when you put your needle on the top and you cue it left and right, it will actually play what your needle's over the top of. So that is something that's a bit different. So for anybody out there that is wanting one, these are not the cheapest. I had to pay a fortune to get these imported as well. So for anybody out there that actually would like one, this is the last one I'm going to be getting probably before Christmas. So it's on the web store, on the featured products. Get it while you can, because if not, I'll be taking it home myself and I'll keep it. So one left, a visual vinyl volume 2. What have we got on here? Bottom side of Reloop Concord says the Autophon logo. Yes, because they're made by the same people. It is exactly the same. They're exactly the same units. This is the problem I've said before. I mean, they're made for professional club use and festival use. The same as the tour units. So why the hell are they releasing them during a fucking worldwide pandemic where no one's allowed to go into a club or bloody festival? What an absolute pointless thing to do. And the everyday average DJ and punter cannot afford $5 pretty much for 2 CD. Well, not even CDJs, 2 computer controllers. The way things are going, I would rather have the Denon units. I think you get more for your money. And with the motorised platters as well. It's a no-brainer. I think I'd rather have that. But yeah, the visual vinyl is still sitting here, guys. That's going to be here until that sells on the website. Good time to change out hardware while clubs, etc. are shut. Yeah, but then in reality, look, good time to change out hardware. Well, change out a CDJ was take out a bloody IEC kettle connector. And all you're really doing is what? Connecting in exactly the same cable again. And then you've got the link connectors, which are an Ethernet cable, which goes straight in the back. And then you've got to rely on what the DJs do to use them. That's it. I mean, I can't see it being that hard. Most clubs don't change out their audio equipment. They'll keep in the same amps or they'll keep in the same active systems. Most of them are pretty much good enough now to withstand the test of time for a good 5 years. That's it. There isn't really anything else to do with it, is there? So I don't think there is that. The future of DJing. I remember when I very first saw a Numark Axis 8 CDJ. Very, 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 very first one that I ever saw, and it was the first one out of the lot in a budget range which you could cue like vinyl. And I remember seeing it and having a go, and this was actually the day that I bought my very first ever brand new pair of Technics 1210 Mark IIs, right? And I was in the shop, my old man was with us because I was only I think I was 17 at the time, and he was at the till paying because it was like the bank of mum and dad, you know. It was basically, I paid him back like £250 a month until they were paid back. So I paid him, he paid £1,000 for, I think it was, and I paid it back. But I was sitting there in this room at this Axis 8, and it plugged into this little Numark mixer with this Denon CD thing, the rack mount piece of shit. And I remember mixing it in together thinking, you've got a choice right now. Out of the Technics 1210 or the Axis 8s, which one would you like? And I'll buy the pair of them for you now. So I could have walked out of there with the Numarks, or I could have walked out of there with the Technics. And I remember thinking to myself, straight away I turned around with my old man and I went, nah, this ain't going to catch on. No DJ's going to want to use CDs. And now look at how things are, guys. It's not that long ago when you think about it. I mean, I'm 35 now. It isn't that long ago when that happened. Big guys pushing plastic players towards DJs. Yep, DJ COVID-19. Maybe a new CJ 850 Mark II that was DJ affordable right now might be better. Yeah, well, this is Pioneer, isn't it? They do everything they think. They don't think of what people actually want. They just think of what people want to spend. Well, you know, that's the wrong way of putting it. No, it's not what they want to spend. They don't think about what people want. They think about what they want. Is what I'm trying to say. Look at Technics. They thought they knew what people wanted with the Mark 7, but they completely blew it when they decided to do a low budget product, which is just too expensive. It's a low budget product at a premium price. I say it all the time. Still have my CJ 1000 Mark IIIs really used though. I love the 1000 Mark IIIs, and to be honest, I will end up buying another pair of 1000 Mark IIIs. I had 4 of them at one point. I want to get another 2 of them alongside my current setup at home. But that's what we're going to do with that. Right, I think on that note, everybody, I think that's going to be it. Right, for the next video I'll make sure I get my audio interface sorted out so I can get the microphone plugged in. We'll do it through the GoPro and do it from my computer. What I would suggest, anyone that watches this video who I haven't bored the shit out of, who I've still got watching, any questions you have, DJ related, Technics related, anything at all, or even regarding my video in general, please do post them on the comments below. What I will do is, instead of the good ones, what I'll do, I'll siphon through them. The most general questions that I get asked all the time, I'll reply straight back to on the comments. If I get some good ones on there that I think, oh, I like the idea of that, people might be interested, I will copy them and write them down on my computer. I'll stick them on my iPad and do a recorded one answering everybody's questions, alright? So get them all on there below. Also, I think PLX Turntable Mark III is near, mate. Piss right off. Unless Hampin have got a new turntable out, that's never going to happen. The reality is this. This is the reality of this. I keep hearing this all the time with these modern turntables, with Reloop, PLX, all of them, right? The only reason I like the Reloop is because it's got the torque adjust and you get more for your money. Whereas the Pioneer, you're paying a lot of money for something that's basically a Reloop. And they're all the same as a Stanton Straight 150. They're all modelled around the Hampin HD, the Hampin DJ 5500, right? They're all modelled around exactly the same unit. So unless Hampin bring out a new turntable, a new version of their hand-pinned deck. Every single turntable you see from Pioneer, from Reloop, Audio Technica or Stanton will all be exactly the same. Same motor, same pitch, same whole thing. So my advice to you, if you're watching and you genuinely want to know what turntable's coming out next, keep your eyes on the handpin page in Japan. Keep your eyes on it, because if they genuinely release a new turntable, I could probably put money on it. That new model that they're going to do is what Pioneer would do, Reloop would do, and everybody else. The only person that stays away from the crowd with all of this is Denon, because Denon's VL12 was fantastic. Problems with a few bits here and there, but a really nice turntable to use. Now, I think there's one manufacturer we don't really hear anything from anymore at all. And I think what they should do is throw down the gauntlet and just go, fuck this, let's make a dent in the universe, in the DJ market, and that is Gemini, right? We can all laugh about them, but back in the day, their mixers were fantastic. The old mixers were brilliant. Every single setup you'd see in someone's house was that. Vestax, I think, have had their day. They went bankrupt. That's the end of it. I don't think there's anything really going to be going on with that. I'd like to think Vestax will come back with a bang, but I hope they don't do a super OEM like everyone else has done. I really do. But yeah, I think Gemini. I think Gemini should come through, because I call them Flemini, because I think their stuff is just pure at least bring out a good turntable, because their stuff was pretty good back in the day. We do laugh about the PT2000s, all that stuff, but you know, but some of their stuff was pretty good. Not now, obviously, it's just cheap plastic crap. I can tell you some many stories with them. Or even Behringer. Oh my God, can you imagine if Behringer brought out a turntable? That'd be brilliant. Probably catch fire within the first 5 minutes. What we got in here? Jay, what's the best pitch, VL12 or Mark 7? Easy peasy answer to that, and that's the VL12. And in fact, what I will do at some point for you to prove this, I will take my GoPro home and I will get my V off the bottom of my deck stand and put it in on the place of the Mark II. I'll have my Mark 7 and the VL12. I've still got it. I'll do a mix between the two so you can see. And what I'll do a video mix so you can hear the difference and physically see what I have to do. And the other thing I'll do as well is do an audio recording online, and I'll tell you which deck I start with so you know which deck is being mixed into next and next and next. So I'll do that, I promise you that as well. I actually thought that last night, funny enough. I nearly did it last night. 646 Pro mixer, yes, 100 billion. Was it a 626 or a 646? I can't remember. Well, a 12-second sampler or whatever it was on it, which no one ever used. PDX 3000s, good decks, yeah, they were. Just sold straight 80, yeah, I remember them. They were nice. 626, that was it. 626 Pro. That was the weapon of choice with the black and the orange writing, and also the newer version they had with the silver backing plate. That was a great bit of kit with the Rail Glide crossfader, which was horrible to scratch with. DJM has, I have Reloop 7000 Mark IIs, love them, still want to get a pair of Technics in the future. Yeah, Reloops are fantastic, they're brilliant decks, they really are. You just can't beat Technics for accuracy more than anything. Jay, when you're in record box DVS, should your BPM count be fluctuating on the screen? Is there a sign at the deck or off time? No, I mean, look, I haven't, like I said before in this video, I've not used record box for DVS, but I promise you now, I will order a pair of DVS timecode records, probably tonight. I'll get them ordered either tonight or tomorrow, okay? And I will test that out, because everyone's under this illusion with timecode that the pitch control, once you move it in increments, it should just stay still. It doesn't. It constantly, don't think your turntables or pitch controls are knackered. That's what they do. It's constantly recalibrating, and that is why the numbers keep going up and down. DDM 4000, yeah, remember that, the Behringer one? Have you worked out to upgrade the VL12 arm? No, and I will not be doing it yet. Again, I haven't got the time to do it if I wanted to. So no, I know how to do it, but I've not had the time to create the parts needed to fit the arm inside. That's what I need to do. Sounds better than preamps. Yep. DVS moves normal. Yes, it is. Thanks for that, Jay. Appreciate it. So guys, I have to go. Please stick your questions in the comments below. I promise you I will get back to you. And the good questions, have a good think about it. Have a real good think about it, because the best questions I have, I'll do a video on just on purely on them. So get as many as you can down on there. Hopefully you get quite a few. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. I know I do ramble on about a lot of things, but that's just me. It wouldn't be my videos if I didn't rabble on, would it? So yeah, thank you for watching, everybody. And I shall catch you all later on. So take it easy. I'm about to get out of here and get some food. I'm bloody starving. So see you later, guys. Have a good one.